he checked himself into a mental asylum to prove that demons aren't real. He wanted to forget his past as an exorcist. But when an entity made of pure electricity starts hunting his dead friend's daughter, he realizes that he cannot hide from hell. The story begins with a man named John Constantine in a psychiatric clinic. He checked himself in voluntarily, choosing the harshest treatments just to inflict pain on himself and try to drown out the guilt from a tragedy where a little girl named Astra was dragged to hell because of his failed exorcism in Newcastle. Because of his past and his attitude, people often just call him Bastard Constantine. Even while hiding in the asylum, he attracts trouble like a magnet. Weird events find him on their own. This time, he follows a trail of cockroaches and stumbles upon a woman possessed by a demon. The exorcism begins. The woman levitates. Constantine forces her down to the ground, rushing the incantation, and all the windows around them shatter into pieces. When the woman comes to, she's back to normal, but the demon leaves a clear message. Liv will die soon. We cut to a woman named Liv, an ordinary girl who has no idea why a demon would be hunting her. Liv is driving home when the rearview camera starts glitching. There's no one behind her, but the warnings won't stop. When she gets out to check, her car suddenly stalls, scaring her half to death. A moment later, the entire neighborhood loses power. Tense and on edge, Liv has to walk home. Along the way, the ground suddenly cracks open beneath her and nearly swallows her whole. Right then, a taxi pulls up, and John Constantine steps out. Terrified, Liv grabs her pepper spray, but he quickly explains he's not the enemy. He's the only one who can save her. Without his help, she won't last 3 days. He hands her his card, which has his name and says he's an exorcist. After that, the girl walks away. Constantine climbs down into the sinkhole, but the demon isn't there. Instead, he meets an angel named Manny. Manny says he didn't create the pit. He just came to check on an old friend. Constantine is cold and distant, barely glancing at him. Manny warns that something massive is coming, but before Constantine can ask for details, the angel spreads his wings and vanishes. Back home, Liv notices someone watching her. A stranger with a knife secretly carves a symbol on her door. Soon the hallway lights flicker, and the demon chases Liv all the way to her apartment. Unfortunately, her neighbor isn't so lucky. At midnight, ambulance sirens wake Liv. She's horrified to see her neighbor's mutilated body and the same symbol on her own door. It gets even worse. The driver transporting the body hears banging from the trunk. He stops to check, and the dead body starts thrashing wildly. The next morning, Constantine tails Liv. When she sees him, she shows him a photo of the symbol. She thinks the nighttime stalker killed her neighbor and marked her door. But the truth is, it was Chaz Chandler, Constantine's driver. Without the protective sigil he carved, Liv would have been the one killed. Constantine realizes the demons are after her because of her father. Liv always believed her father died before she was born, but Constantine reveals he only died last year and left her a certain artifact. At that moment, a truck carrying corpses veers off the road and crashes straight into a nearby restaurant. If Constantine hadn't stopped Liv, she would have been inside and died instantly. After this, Liv finally accepts the truth. Demons really are hunting her, because the truck driver with the corpses turns out to be that same neighbor who is already dead. The level of supernatural horror is way beyond anything Liv can process. Realizing it's all tied to her father, she rushes home to question her mother. But her mother only says her father was a one-night stand. She got pregnant and lied that he died early. Liv examines her father's relic, in confusion and fear. She looks up and sees her long-dead grandmother standing in front of her. In panic, she runs out and collides with Constantine. Seeing her terror, he tells her to take out the pendant and starts reciting an incantation. Everything around them darkens, countless spirits appear. Constantine stands on railroad tracks, holding Liv as a train rushes straight through them. Only then does she realize everything she saw was an illusion. It turns out Liv's father was a medium who helped Constantine many times, and Liv inherited his gift. Touching the pendant activates her sight of spirits. That's exactly why the demons are after her. Constantine decides to take Liv to her father's old house. It's safer there. But on the way, the traffic lights malfunction, and a truck slams into their car. While Constantine is unconscious, his greatest pain resurfaces: the failed exorcism that sent the girl named Astra to hell. It's a wound that never heals. Liv's screams snap him back. A live high-voltage cable whips around like a snake. Constantine chants a protection spell for Liv, while Chaz doesn't make it out in time. The cable pierces right through him. Constantine barely reacts, making it clear that Chaz isn't an ordinary person. Once they reach Liv's father's house, Constantine digs through the books and quickly identifies the hunter demon, Furcifer, who can control electricity and storms. That explains the glitching lights, the killer cable, and even the reanimated corpse. On Constantine's instructions, Liv drips blood onto a map. Each drop stops at a specific spot. It becomes clear that her inherited ability lets her foresee supernatural events. But first, they have to deal with Furcifer before using Liv's gift for bigger things. Constantine turns to an old friend, a brilliant hacker named Richie Simpson. Though Richie can't stand him, Constantine convinces him to help. Back with Liv, she sees Chaz appear again, scaring her to death. Clearly, Chaz isn't quite normal. Without the ability to die and come back, he wouldn't have survived around Constantine. That night, Constantine bribes a guard and heads to the roof of a high-rise. He draws a sigil to bind the demon so he can confront Furcifer face to face. The lights flicker. The demon is here, but it doesn't show its true form. It possesses the guard and approaches. As soon as the guard steps into the sigil, Constantine starts the exorcism. Furcifer leaves the body and takes on Constantine's own appearance, mocking him and saying sooner or later he'll end up in hell. Then the demon starts draining electricity from the entire city. Turns out the drawn sigil is useless. So Constantine fires a flare rocket. It's the signal for Richie. Richie hacks the grid and blacks out the whole city. At that moment, Constantine ignites the sigil, unleashing its full power. Realizing it's losing, Furcifer tries to flee to hell and conjures an illusion of Astra, warning that activating the sigil will doom her to even worse torment. Liv spots the trick at the last second and calls it out. Without hesitation, Constantine chants the final incantation, and flames drag Furcifer back to hell. Even knowing Astra was an illusion, the memory crushes Constantine. He collapses to the floor and asks Richie to drive Liv home. On the way, Richie tells Liv the truth about Astra. Years ago, the girl was possessed. Constantine summoned a stronger demon to save her, but it tore Astra apart and dragged her soul to hell. Since then, Constantine has drowned in guilt and self-destruction. They're interrupted by sirens. Ahead is a destroyed house, exactly where Liv's blood drop landed on the map. The next day, Constantine receives a special map from Liv. After surviving this nightmare, Liv makes her contribution to Constantine's work. She stays up all night marking every supernatural event she can foresee. The number is terrifyingly high. While Constantine reflects, Manny appears. It turns out his mission is to watch Constantine. Both heaven and hell keep close tabs on this man because he is hell's own detective, John Constantine. Now with this map, John knows exactly where every monster in the country is hiding. And the hunt has just begun.